I'm
Happy Friday,
telling you.
everybody.
Happy
Yay.
Friday. So we
Finally.
have Nicole on today. Nicole, how do you pronounce your last name? I don't want to butcher it.
I say Pulcini, and of course, like the proper way is Pulcini, but we're American, so Pulcini.
Pulcini. So where does that like originate from?
It's Italian.
I thought so. Italian. It sounds like a pasta almost. Okay.
I had a client tell me the other day that my name sounded like a yummy dessert.
Actually, they're not wrong.
I accepted it. Okay.
You're like, I am the yummy dessert.
Let's sell a house.
Let's sell. You want to sell a house?
Exactly.
Cheers. So check out this cup. I got this from Sarah.
Oh.
It says, other real estate agents, and then me.
Yes, that's when you got your license.
Yeah, Sarah bought that for me. Thank you.
That's
Cheers.
awesome.
Cheers. I freaking don't even have coffee yet.
No.
That's how my mornings, or actually I can tell you that's how my whole entire week has gone. I don't know what it was, but it is like seriously Murphy's Law this week. Anything that could go wrong, not just like with work, but kids, family, life has happened. So I'm like embracing Friday and just going to be crazy later. Can't wait.
Sarah, are you going to celebrate? One of these days when you get on, I want to hear that everything went right and it was the perfect week. You guys both laugh like that could never happen.
Right, exactly. Do you sell real estate?
Right.
Do you even real estate?
Exactly. Because I would love to meet an agent that can honestly say everything's always gone right. Perfect.
Right.
Oh
or even just
God.
for like a day or a week. Like, yes, today was great.
That would be awesome.
Okay, sure it was.
I had 3 units that I manage. The same landlord, this poor guy, on Monday, 3 units that I manage in 3 different locations. All of their heat went out. And it was so cold and windy. 2 of them he was able to fix. And I'm talking like 8:30 at night. Like, I think my poor maintenance guy got done at like 10:30. But 2 of them completely went out, or that he was able to fix. And then one he had to completely replace the entire furnace. That was how the Monday started. I'm like, just bring it. Just hit me with it all at once. Like end of the day, and then you start getting calls from tenants, and it's like, oh. But that's the name of the game, I guess, right?
Yeah, all the time. And then it's always after hours because that's when people are home and when things go wrong.
I know. Well, it is, and I always say like, what are after hours for real estate agents, because it literally is. We work around the clock, like nonstop. I find myself turning my phone off or like on like sleep mode at like 8 o'clock at night, just because for boundaries, and then like I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'll have 5 or 6 missed text messages.
Wow.
And, hey, did you figure out the year of that house yet? And I'm like, really?
Right. That's when they're thinking about it and we're trying to relax. Yeah,
decompress.
Exactly. I set boundaries too and have either ignore it or put it on sleep, like you said. And then I heard another agent's voicemail, which I thought was really helpful. So it now says something like, I'm currently either with a client, spending time with my family, or otherwise unavailable. Please text me and I will call you as soon as I can, kind of like setting those rules. So I've had that forever now.
Yes. I love that. I'm going to, that's a great idea to change your voicemail. And it kind of like reminds people that like, yes, we want to take care of you, give you the best service, but we are also human. And, like and trust us, we will still take care of you, but give us that space and we'll be even better, honestly.
Absolutely.
So it's crazy.
They're not the only client.
Right. Oh my God. I know. I have buyers go, stop talking about your other clients. You're making us jealous. Because I'll be like, sorry, I'm already showing that later or whatever. They're like, stop. No. So they do like to think they're the only ones.
Yeah.
How is the market where you're at? Is it similar to where Dawn is?
Yeah, it'll be similar because we're in the same county. She's covering a little bit more north. Um, so what I'm seeing like with my listings is that they're kind of sitting a little bit longer, instead of going under contract in a month, it could be 60 to 90 days. But it's like all of a sudden that marketing gets traction like later than it used to, and then they
Right.
start popping off. But,
Yeah.
we have to manage the expectations of the, sellers about what to expect, especially with time frames. So,
Well, I think so, definitely. Like you have to be, you good, Dawn?
yeah, right.
I literally, my Mac computer shut down. It's like, no, girl, you're not gonna have a good day. So,
Aww, I'm sorry.
Now
I'm sorry.
I disconnected my AirPods. Am I creating an echo?
It doesn't
No, I think
sound
you
like
sound
it.
good.
Okay, as long as it sounds good on your guys' end. I might try and reconnect to my phone with the AirPods, just in case. But anyways, keep talking. Don't mind me. I'm just the host.
No, we were just talking about like setting sellers' expectations with the changing market, and you made a good point. Like, the last few years, sellers' homes were literally sitting 2 or 3 days, and they were gone,
Right.
gone. And we still have a really fast moving market over here. Houses are priced right; they're selling fast, but
Yeah.
fast can be anywhere from being still active for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's really not a long time. I mean, if you go back, 5 years ago, it was normal to have a house on the market for 30 to 60 days. It was just one of those things. So yes, telling them at that, that listing appointment, kind of setting that expectation so they're not all freaking out. And, and I almost think like too, because I don't know, like there, but like here, we're still having houses that will be, under contract within 3 days.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think it's so important too. There's some agents that are just like, awesome, let's go. We just sold your house quick. Let's get it, under contract and whatever. But to take care of your seller, I think it's so important to keep that house on the market for at least a week and get as much traffic as you can as possible, getting that best dollar amount for your seller,
Right.
work
It kind of
them
exposes it to more buyers. Yeah. The other thing, like my broker was in my office yesterday and he was talking about some of the other conversations we can have. So I have a board over here that has like a list of like my prospective sellers and buyers. And I have a lot of prospective sellers. And he's like, well, why are they not listed yet? And, I gave him a few examples and he's like, you need to call them and let them know, like if they want to move in 60 to 90 days, they need to be listed now. So it's like another type of conversation we can have to explain, like if you want to be in Vero with your girlfriend in 90 days, we should really start getting the marketing together and get your house on the market because that's the length of time now. And we can control, the closing or the end date. We can control rent back or all kinds of things if it does immediately go under contract. But it's like another conversation to have to explain, how the market's changing and touch base again.
It's so important. And you're so right with that. And I saw this Instagram today and I cannot remember the girl's name, but she was talking about similar things. Like if you have been thinking about selling your house in 2024, the time is now because the time is actually now till August. You want your house sold by August because what's going to happen in September and October is all of the political advertisements are going to start coming out. And it creates a uncertainty for people to make those moves. So the buyers are definitely going to take a step back and they're going to want to stay stable until they know what's going on. And anytime there's like a political year or whatever ahead, it creates uncertainty for a lot of people. And so selling your house isn't such a big thing, but the buyers are going to be more aware and cautious, I guess is the word, when buying a house. So like the time is now to list your house.
It is. It's all psychological. The whole election thing ends up being just a psychological uncertainty, even though it may not actually change the market. It just makes them fear.
Correct. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Nicole, I ask everybody who's on here, what is the craziest thing in real estate that's happened to you?
Well, you probably saw my recent TikTok that went little mini viral, and it just happened. It just happened. I had some buyers I met at an open house in Melbourne Beach, and they wanted to upsize into a single family home. So found one fellow Dale Sorensen agent, had it listed.
Wow.
And we were there at the inspection, and it was just me, the husband, his family came briefly, they left, and then it has a septic. So the septic inspector actually showed up during the home inspection, which is kind of rare. Normally they show up early in the morning. I've never seen a septic inspection because they just randomly appear.
Yeah.
And we're hanging out, and the septic guy shows up, and he can't find it. Anyways, he looks for 45 minutes and figures out that it's underneath the pavers.
Oh, man.
And they're like 18 by 18 pavers on top. So the house is built, I think it was in the 50s. The house was built in the 50s.
Okay.
So I stayed because I didn't know him, and I wanted to make sure he put all the pavers back appropriately. And the buyer was just sitting there talking, chatting. We're watching this guy work. So awkward.
Yeah.
He pulls off probably 20 pavers.
Oh, my gosh.
I know, it was crazy. Outlines the septic, and he's, kind of asking questions and talking. He's making, crap jokes the whole time. He's telling me like, this is my crap stick. It's like this giant metal rod. And he's like walking around top of the septic, and he finds the lid, and there's no handle. The handle has disintegrated, of course, because it's beachside. And we didn't have any record of it being changed or pumped or anything.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, I have to knock the lid loose. And I'm like, okay. He's like, it's normal. Don't worry. He takes his, crap stick, and he starts banging on the lid to loosen it. Well, the entire thing disintegrated and collapsed. And this man, who's 60 something years old, just plummets into feces and roaches.
Shut up. Oh my God, that's on TikTok?
Not the video. I don't have the video. It's just because I had pictures of him afterwards, and I just was like, oh my God, it's not my house. What do I do? What do I do? And I didn't even have the wherewithal to be like, are you okay?
Yeah, because you're probably
What did you do?
I'm in shock. So my buyer asked him, he caught himself with an arm and one leg, but the whole other leg and him went in. Yes. And my buyer's like, are you okay? He's like, no, I'm not effing okay. I just fell into shit.
I cannot believe that. Oh my God.
So
I would have been in shock.
I don't know what I would have done. List of shit jokes now.
Oh my God. So then the smell hits me. And so I back up and I'm walking away, and my greatest fear is roaches. And I'm like, I'm out. And I'm also thinking liability. What's going to happen with the seller? Who's at fault here? Everything. Right. He's cut. His arms and legs are cut. We didn't know if his wrist was possibly broken.
So open wounds in feces. I can't.
So bad. And there's a giant hole in somebody's septic right outside their back door.
Dang.
It was
so
awful.
Who would be liable for that? I mean, I would think homeowners insurance would have to pay for that, right?
Okay, so this is how I understand it. Obviously, we're not attorneys, right. But this is how it was explained to me. It was defective, and he uncovered a defective, piece of the home. So he could be technically liable to replace the lid alone, but that's it. And there's no point because the entire septic was defective. It was original to the home, we found out. So it's older than my parents. It's
Wow.
70 something years old. And
Wow.
it was not functioning well. It definitely had leaks. He said it was like X amount of inches. It should have been, this other, amount, and it had to be replaced. So it wasn't.
What are you doing?
She's checking out the septic.
But go ahead.
So that's how it was explained to me. I called the home inspector who arranged it with him, and he called like their legal counselor for the home inspection, and that's what they said. And then we had to rope in my broker and like a team lead type agent, and then just calling the other agent.
Yeah.
I was like, you jinxed us, because we were just texting, because the last deal we had issues with the inspection because my surgeon was really particular. And so we had just been texting like, everything's going great, I can't wait. And then giant hole in the backyard. So I had to call her.
So did your buyer follow through with the deal?
No. So even though the seller was going to replace the whole thing, which is $18,000.
That's a huge expense.
Isn't that crazy? They were gonna, the best way I can explain it, and it actually came from one of the comments on TikTok, is that the psychology of watching that happen and seeing what it actually means to own a home from the 50s, even though everything else had been done. Roof's done, electrical's done, plumbing's done, windows.
Oh, man.
It was just a psychological thing. And so they canceled, and I could not believe it. Because in my mind, I'm like, no, you get a free septic.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly, but it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that brings me to my next question.
Terrible.
Brings me to my next question, Sarah. Because inspections are obviously really important because you discover things like this. I mean, hopefully you're not falling in a septic tank like Nicole's inspector. But what have you learned, Sarah, from just like watching inspections, and why do you recommend your clients get home inspections?
Okay. So, first of all, like in a competitive market, obviously sellers are picking offers that don't have home inspections. And we're seeing it a lot in our market that our home inspections are being waived.
Yeah.
So just when I bought my house, we waived our home inspection because, believe it or not, like it was a crazy market, and we had a ranch style home, which are really sought out here in upstate New York. And, we waived our home inspection, and shortly after we moved in, we found like black mold underneath the carpets and behind the wallpaper and stuff like that. And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe it was. But like, I loved like the style of my house so much, and I loved the location of it, that we had agreed that no matter what was wrong with it, we were going to still buy it.
Yeah.
So when I talk to my seller or my buyers, when they're in like a competitive market, they're like, well, how do we make our offer strong? And I never tell them to waive the home inspection. I never do. But what I do tell them is, I want you to go home and think about it. Think about everything you love about this house. Think about, regardless, why are you buying it? Is it because of the location you love so much? Is it this you love so much? If you would purchase the home, if you found like foundation problems, main sewer line problems, defective roof, or that kind of stuff, major repairs, if you found something that was like $50,000-$60,000 that's going to cost you to fix, would you still go through with the purchase of the home? Some say, well, no. And then I'm like, then get your home inspection, make your offer contingent on your home inspection. If your answer is yes, let's set up a post-closing home inspection. I'll pay for half of it as your closing gift. And then at least you guys know what you're in for when, what you're in for when you're moving in and stuff.
Yeah. That's a really good way to put it too, because you never know what's going to go wrong. And I mean, Nicole, that septic tank was $18,000.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I seriously, and thank God they had the home inspection, because, so I just had another closing. Well, two situations. My buyers waived the home inspection. They did the final walkthrough. We got in a couple times to look through things, flush toilets, whatever. Fast forward a week and a half, their downstairs dining room starts leaking, and it's coming from the upstairs bathroom. And they're furious. They're like, there's no way that the sellers didn't know about this and didn't disclose it. Like, what can we do? And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you guys, you waived your home inspection. Like, there's literally nothing you can do. We did the final walkthrough. We ran all the water. Like, there's nothing you can do. I'm sorry. And you signed off on the final walkthrough. You know, so they were furious. And then I had another one that I had the seller this time, and the buyers were coming from Florida. They bought the house sight unseen. They bought the house sight unseen, cash, waived the home inspection, waived all contingencies. They got here the day before closing. They did the final walkthrough. They signed off on the final walkthrough and lived in the house for 3 days and called me. They weren't even my people, but they called me, you know, threatening to sue me and the seller because they found this and this and this was wrong with the house and this wasn't disclosed. I'm like, you guys signed off on the home inspection. It's like, that's what you run into if, you know, you waive the home inspection. So if you're going to buy the house regardless, it's whatever. But if you're going to have major problems with repairs that pop up, then you need to have that home inspection. And, you know, like, you know, what have I learned from home inspections? So many things, so many things that you never know what's behind the walls. You never know if the plumbing, I mean, we're not professional plumbers or electricians. So there was one time an open outlet or a open junction box that had like a cut live wire in the attic that was literally like inches away from blown in insulation, that any small spark could have started like a huge electric fire, you know? So, I mean, if you're going to waive the home inspection because you love your house so much, I'd encourage you to get a post inspection just so you know, especially like safety and structural issues of what's going on. They're so important. So important.
I always think people have, well, I always think people have like misconceptions of what a home inspection truly is. Like this home inspectors, they don't deep dive, you know, they're not going to open the walls. Like I had somebody get upset about an air conditioning issue. Air conditioner looked fine, worked fine. But when you remove pieces, there were problems. So in a lot of ways, I think that gives them, you know, like a false sense of security because you don't know what's going to go wrong until you live in it. It's only there to really catch, you know, the big obvious things. Like they don't move furniture. It's just, you know, a lot of the times I think it gives them just the wrong impression that everything is hunky-dory and it's, you know, there's always going to be things wrong with a house, even new construction. I just sold, you know, new construction and they ordered a home inspection and it had the live wire in the attic, like right by the insulation. Dishwasher didn't work at all. You know, there's so many things, no matter how old the house is, and there's always going to be issues when it comes to home ownership. Like I bought my house, and within 3 to 6 months, the air conditioner totally went out, you know, when it was functioning perfectly fine. So it should be to be expected. And a lot of people don't realize that, especially first-time home buyers.
It's a huge investment and it's a constant investment that you're putting in. You know, there's a lot of perks to being a homeowner, but then there's a lot of things that go into it as well. You know, and some people get frustrated. They're like, well, I don't want to own a house, but I'm not going to pay this much for rent. Well, there's a reason you're paying that much for rent most of the time, because that homeowner that you're renting from has maintenance that they have to keep up on. And, you know, it's an unknown. You never know. So I've even seen brand new houses, you know, back to they didn't want to buy a house from the 50s. I've seen brand new houses that have come up with problems and issues, and you know, it happens.
They don't build them the same as
it's just one of those things.
No,
and that's for sure. That's for sure.
No one's lived in it to catch those problems and fix those problems. Like I kind of like the whole resale better because people have made it livable. They've added shelves where they should be, or they've added door hooks where they should be. They fixed that leaky plumbing generally. Obviously, that's not always the case. But, you know, they've caught those things along the way where new construction, meh.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And I do love resale too, but the biggest thing for me, like that I've learned about home inspections is doing pipe scopes. Like,
really,
I was really impressed with Hound Dog home inspectors. I don't know if you've ever used them; they're amazing. But they like, you know, taught me. They always like teach me as we go along with each inspection. They're like, this is why you want to do this, this is why you want to do this. So I guess homes that are under or are 20 years old, they always recommend getting a pipe scope. And so I sold this home in Cocoa, and it was a much older home, older than 20 years. And so this was the first time that I've ever done a pipe scope. And I guess they go on the roof, and there's like like little chimney things or something that they put the camera through, and then they take pictures and video, and then they send it to you. And I am telling you, I've never seen a pipe from the inside before, and I was like, people drink out of that? Ugh.
Oh God, stop it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, those should be the waste pipes that they're going through.
They're going through so they're the waste pipes.
That's waste. That's not the water pipe.
Not the water pipes.
Yeah.
Oh,
thanks for clarifying.
Because those things get like really like thick, like
gross,
gritty stuff, really gross. Yeah, and then like something like there was one on one of the pipes, you could see a tree branch coming through it.
I was just going to ask you, have you seen the plants that are growing through them? Like my dad's pulled an entire tree like growing out of the pipe in the roof, and the roots had gone all the way down into his plumbing and into his toilet.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
So that's like a huge deal on older homes. Like that is something I didn't even think of, because that piping, obviously plumbing and septic tanks are a huge cost. So it's like the one thing that like now I like recommend to my clients, if the home is older, do a pipe scope. Do not skip on that, because I want you to know how much it's going to cost or how much life is left in your pipes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because we're seeing a lot of repiping here. Certain areas in particular, like Vero was hit really hard for it. There's whole neighborhoods that are known for it, like Grand Harbor, and because they're getting those pinhole leaks, and you're never going to know until it happens, honestly. So a lot of the times the sellers there are kind of told to do it before they sell, because that's going to be the biggest, objection they hear when it is listed. And there's been crazy stories where someone didn't listen, and they didn't turn off their water when they left, and they came home. Like I know of someone who had like a $2 million house just wrecked, because the pinholes start small, but then of course they get bigger, and it could just slowly leak and wreck things. So we're seeing a lot of repiping here.
Yeah. That's crazy. Now, Sarah, I know that you are busy with real estate, like super crazy. Nicole, I'm sure you guys probably talked about this while I was trying to figure out my damn electronics. How is the market for you right now?
For me?
For Nicole.
Or for Nicole?
For Nicole.
Oh, well, our market in general, I was telling Sarah, has, I hate the word slowed. I hate it. I don't think that's the best word, and I don't know what it is, but
it's like a transitional phase.
It is. And so like the listings are sitting a little bit longer, even if they're priced right.
Yeah.
I've got one that, for sure I was like, this is a great price, pool home, like newer home, gonna disappear under 500, 3-car garage. And it's still
having the same problem.
There. Yes. And, our broker was just talking to me saying like, they're going to sit a little bit longer. You do need to do the price reductions, but then all of a sudden, maybe 30 days in, your marketing is going to hit. Like the marketing's taking longer to hit.
Yeah.
And, the other thing, like this gives you another topic of conversation with your prospective sellers. If you want to be somewhere in 90 days, we need to get it listed now.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Just help them plan out where they need to be and start the marketing process now, get them listed.
Yes.
So, yeah. And it's crazy because Sarah, me and Nicole, obviously we're in the same market because we're both in Florida. We went through that crazy market where it was fast, like you're doing now. And so to see this slow down, we have sellers that are in that same mind frame, and they want it priced high, and they're expecting offers after offers, and then it's not
annoying.
happening, and they're getting frustrated with us. And it's like, I tell them all the time, and you probably say the same thing. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict the market,
Right.
but we can always test the market. And if the market will let us know whether or not your house is priced correctly, so we'll know real quick. If we're not getting any showings or offers, then we're probably not priced to where the market wants to support us anymore. So it's definitely scaling back. Things are sitting longer. Prices are dropping. Agents are just as frustrated as clients.
Yeah, right. Seriously. Well, and that's the thing is, and I always blame it on the market. Like, no, this is what the market's doing right now. It's not me. It's not that.
Us.
This is the market. So this is where we're at. So, but even here, like houses are going quick, but same thing. If they're priced too high, they're sitting. Now, if they're priced at where they should be for the market, we're still getting, there was just a house that I had 3 different buyers had offers in on. She ended up with 9 offers, and it went like $50,000 over asking price. But if she would have listed it for $50,000 more than what it was listed for, she wouldn't have gotten anything. You know what I mean? So it's like,
interesting.
If it's priced right, we're still getting the multiple offers and going above asking. But if it's priced too high, it's just sitting, and nobody's going to look at it. And then by the time you're ready to drop the price, it's almost too late because people are like, well, what the hell's wrong with that house?
What's wrong with it?
And why is it dropping? Yep.
Yeah.
I have.
So it's just so important.
I'm struggling so much with this listing I've had for. It's been. Well, I had it coming soon for a year when it was under construction. It's a luxury flip condo in Vero, oceanfront. Gorgeous, gorgeous, so pretty. You can see the ocean from the master and the living room. And if they had gotten it to the market last March, it would have sold for our original listing price. And they're like texting me today, like, we need this to sell. And I'm like, oh, I know. And we are now, I'd say, 300,000 under what it was originally listed for, if I remember correctly. And I think they're going to have to do another price drop. And I was just pulling market stats that show how many homes were listed, sold, and under contract in that price range. And if you go from like 1.3 to 1.45, there were 18 listings and only 8 either went under contract or sold.
Wow.
But that's it. So you have 8 buyers for 18 properties.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right.
Well, that's a really good way to structure it and show the clients too. Like there was 8 buyers and 18 properties. So if you want to be competitive, you've got to price competitively. Like if you want it sold quick. Wow. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, so we'll see. I never know if they look at what I send them.
Yeah. That's true. So what do you do now that it's like the downtime or it's a little bit slower market? Like I always say you've got to go out and plant those seeds so you can like get your harvest. So what kind of marketing are you doing now? What kind of things are you doing to try and set yourself apart from other agents and get some more listings?
What I've kind of been focusing on lately is, of course, your sphere and past clients.
Yeah.
So I'm very good at follow-up. I have a CRM, which does the majority of the work for me. And
okay, so share with us what your CRM is, because I have been trying to find a good CRM and I can't find one.
I have used Boomtown. And so that came from my last team who was really big on it. And I actually got, sales and listings specifically from that, like that $2 million condo. The reason I have that listing is because she called me and she was like, your follow-up's amazing. And I'm like, I have never called or texted you, but my CRM does. And they didn't know that, but they're like, your follow-up is on par. And I'm like, awesome.
That's awesome.
That's great.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
But it works. The other one that a lot of people use is Follow Up Boss. And I've heard, a lot of good things about it. But I really like Boomtown.
And if Boomtown is working for you, then stick with it.
Yep. So I have all these like drip campaigns set up so they automatically email, text, tell me when to call or send cards to whether it's a past client or sphere or possible seller or all of the buyers I have. Yeah. So it does 75% of the work for me.
Yeah, and that frees you up to do other things like actually being there for the clients when they need you.
Right. And it just gives me so much insight. Like I'll get a notification that whoever, Michael, blah, 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 was just looking at this property. So then I can email him and be like, oh my gosh, what did you think of this property? Do you want to see it on Saturday? And it'll show like high activity or so and so is searching in these zip codes or whatever. So that helps a lot.
That's fantastic.
And then the other thing I've been doing is a lot of circle dialing around my listings.
Okay.
So I listed and sold a past client's home, actually really far south in Port St. Lucie, and I don't normally go to that area, but I'll list it, of course.
Yeah.
And it's a neighborhood where no agent has dominated. There's no mayor, like we call them. There's no mayor of them. And I have circle dialed it a couple times, and I've had 5 people basically raise their hand and be like, I want to sell in the next 12 months.
Nice.
And I haven't even called everyone. That's just the people who are labeled as like high intent to sell.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have over $100,000 in equity. So the other conversation is like, what if we pull that out and you get your first investment property?
Yeah. Those are some really great strategies. I love that.
So that's what I've been doing. And I use through Beach's MLS, so I have 3 MLSs. They give you Remind Pro. And it's basically like a tool that lets you get that contact info and search and see who might be interested in selling or buying. Like it's a very good tool for prospecting buyers or sellers, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, that is great. I'm going to have to call you after this too, because I want to pick your brain more on Boomtown, because that sounds like, I've been researching all these different ones, and there's so many CRMs, but it's like, and they're all expensive, to be honest with you, but it's like, yeah, you need to make sure that you're doing the best bang for your buck too. And you know what, for everybody who's watching this, who thinks like, wait, Nicole and Dawn both live in Florida, they should be competing against each other. That's not how it works in the real estate world. We actually want to help each other out.
All the time.
Right.
I am the #1 person who will go and teach whoever needs to know stuff in the office. Like I have a background in marketing, communications, and public relations.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I want everyone to be successful.
Yeah. And there's enough success to go around. Trust me, there is enough.
I always tell people my favorite thing to say is you can't compete with me because I want you to win too. Like,
that's a great thing.
You can't
so
like. It is true. You can't sell all the houses, nor would you want to.
No.
Like, we want lives too. Like,
well, and they may not like somebody who likes you may not like me.
Yeah,
exactly.
And our we just may not fit. And that's fine. Like your clients are going to be different than mine. There's people who I have been shamed for having tattoos. If you don't like tattoos, we can't be friends.
Yeah.
And if I can't use the F word with you, we're out. Like
you're out.
Exactly. I can't be real. Right. Exactly. Nope.
If you can't hear the truth, I'm out.
How it is.
Yeah. And honestly,
I'll give you someone.
Yeah, the best agents to work with are the ones who want to help you succeed too. They're usually the most successful.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are the most helpful when it comes to listings, and it's crazy because you can tell the difference to the ones that are like kind of off-putting and they don't want to help anybody else. They don't do as good.
No, we're a team. You know, we're a team. If you have the buyer and I have the seller, let's work together to see how we can make everyone as happy as possible because we have a common goal.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, how can we, help our client achieve their real estate goals? I'm not in competition with you. I don't need to have some weird conversation and aggressiveness.
Right.
I've only had two or three agents be ugly and aggressive.
Yes.
And
and it's like snotty.
Yeah. In my 5 years, I've had 2 agents that were not team players, I'll say. But I mean, so you end up doing their work and your work, but it's in both clients' best interest, the buyers and the sellers, that somebody is doing it. So,
right.
But speaking of tattoos, because I love yours, Nicole, beautiful. Sarah just got a new one. Aww. I'm not going to ask you to show it to us, Sarah.
It's kind of on my leg.
It's kind of on my leg, but it is beautiful, and I wanted to comment on it. Can you explain it to us?
I love it. They're addicting, though. I need more now. I mean, I have my ankles and feet done, and just got my leg done, and now I'm like, I want my arm, and I want
We'll see.
Yep.
That's next.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody
Oh,
was
is that what
calling.
happened? Dawn, you're a mess today.
She
I
is. We'll just carry the show.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
Oh
so,
my
Sarah,
God.
explain your tattoo for everybody to visualize.
I'll pull up the picture of it.
Even
So
better.
it's my
Let's see
astrology
a picture.
sign.
Oh, okay.
It's my astrology zodiac sign all together. So it's on my leg. This was right when I got it done. That was
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Pisces.
yep.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Pretty. It
And
is very pretty.
that's the March flower and then the zodiac sign. So yeah, I loved it. I've been
Nicole,
wanting
let
it
me
for a
tell
while.
you the text messages I was getting while Sarah was getting her tattoo.
What? What was I?
He's like, this hurts way worse than I remember.
Oh, I know.
I think you
I'm
had
Well, and
like
it
like,
depends on your
tears in
artist.
your eyes.
Oh, well, and every artist is different. So the guy who did my left arm was a little slower, but light-handed and just very particular. And then when I got my right one done by my boyfriend's artist, she is fast and a little rough, but man, does she cover some space. So she makes it worth
Yep.
it. But yes, it was very hard. And all the there's tiny little stippling dots in here. And those are awful. They literally feel like somebody took a soldering iron and was like into your skin. And her husband came out and I was bitching to him and he's like, yeah, those are fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for telling me.
You're like, thanks for the warning. Thanks for the update.
That's
funny.
crazy. Which did you prefer? Did you prefer the quick and rough or soft and slow?
I mean, you know what? There's something to be said for getting it done. Honestly, like, so I would sit for him for 8 hours. I could do that. But for her, I would, 4 hours was the most. So I basically would get it done in half the time, honestly.
Half the time.
Yeah.
So the pain was worth the time.
I think so. I think so. But yeah, they kind of suck.
Good for you. I just, every time I'm with Sarah, she wants me to get a tattoo, just so you know. So I've got a couple done with her, but I am such a crybaby. Like, I got one on the top of my foot.
Oh, I might have that video.
I'm gonna lose it.
Well, that's not a good spot. There are better spots. That's a bad spot.
I literally had tears coming out of my eyes. Like, I was doing Lamaze breathing. I was like,
she was a little dramatic.
Tattoo,
I mean,
but I was a wuss.
That's a bad spot, though. Like, there is places that don't hurt as much.
So have you ever been to Vegas, Nicole?
No.
So on the Strip, I think it was on the Strip, they have this little place where you can get $10 tattoos.
Sounds like a great idea.
So Sarah and Suzanne, who's my other sister, drag my ass, me and Samantha. I have 6 sisters, by the way. Crazy.
Oh, my.
So they drag us to
Hold on.
Here we
Watch
go.
this.
I'm upset. Don't show this.
Okay, wait.
Turn your camera off.
Maybe somebody will call me and I'll just leave.
You nut job.
Next time I'm drinking, I want to get tattoos.
No, you don't want to do that. That's a bad idea.
Sarah, you're so mean. I can't believe you're sharing that video with everyone.
Oh, that's what sisters are for.
Okay. So next week, we're going to show Sarah Unrevealed. We're going to unreveal some crazy video about Sarah. I don't know, maybe it'll be a drunk one.
That's brilliant.
Drunk ones. Do you want to hear a crazy story? And I'll end with this because I know we're almost over time. I go to New York, Nicole. Sarah takes me out. This is my first year of being a real estate agent. Sarah takes me out. we drink until we're plastered. Cause like when we get together, we get a little bit crazy and we're just sitting in the car. We walk over to the grocery store and we get eclairs and we're just sitting in the car eating these eclairs. Like, you know, when you're drunk, you're like, oh no,
Yes.
no. I'm like, you're just eating. So we take out the video camera and we're literally videoing each other. And we're like talking about these people who looked at us in the store. They probably didn't look at us in the store, but we were drunk. So Sarah's like, and they fucking looked at me and I was like, I'm getting these eclairs. And I was like, yeah, get those eclairs, girl. And we're videotaping each other back and forth. And Sarah's like, send that video to my friend. I'm like, okay. So I text the friend's name. I send the video. Nicole, you're going to fucking die.
She sends it to the wrong person.
Oh my God.
I send it to my client who I just listed their house.
No.
Oh my God. It was so funny.
It could be worse. It could have been a worse video or text.
She literally became like your best friend after or something, right?
Yes, she ended up liking me because it was so real. But I could not sleep that night because I had such stomach aches thinking, she's going to fire me. I'm like, she is literally going to fire me.
You're a real person.
Oh, it was insane.
Oh, it was real, all right. Holy cow. I was trying to see if I could find it, but I don't know if I even still have that video anymore. That was classic, though. I wish I would have.
I'll stitch a piece of it in here because there was a lot of
Oh, my God. I mean,
you, Nicole?
I sent a somewhat flirty text message to a client.
Oh my God.
To the boyfriend. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. And thank goodness we both had iPhones, and I had just learned that you can edit or unsend text messages.
Oh
so
my God.
I immediately, so she could like edited it and put LOL instead. I got a weird thing. So I was headed down to Port St. Lucie and I started getting text messages, and this chick was basically asking me to show my property. So we set up an appointment and I'm like, I'll see you there on Thursday. Well, within a couple minutes, I get an accidental text from her that was meant for her best friend.
Oh, geez.
I can't read it, but it had very graphic details in it about her date night with someone from Tinder. And then I got a screenshot of what he was working with. And I had to wait because I was like, I'm going to be positive. And so I waited. I'm like, how do I formulate this so I don't embarrass her?
Yeah.
So eventually I was like, good for you, girl. I'm so glad you had an awesome night. That sounds amazing. Like, don't feel bad. Happens to all of us.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah, these cell phones are a great thing. Oh my God, yeah. I know. Yeah.
So note to our listeners, check your messages before you send them and who you're sending them to.
Mm-hmm. Don't drunk text anybody.
Triple check.
Yes.
Sarah, now I know that's happened to me and Nicole. Has that ever happened to you?
No, I don't ever do things like that.
Sarah.
It's all real life here. No, you got enough dirt on me. We're not talking. It's time to go.
My lips are sealed. Well, thank you guys both for sticking with it, even though I had issues. I've got to get a new computer. So next time that we do this, Sarah, I promise to use my cell phone until I get a new computer because we can't have me messing up every single week. It's just not professional.
It's entertaining.
Not professional.
Not professional. Thank you, Nicole, for your great advice.
Thank you.
Today, too.
Great. Yes. Awesome. I know. Thank you. It's always nice to talk to other realtors.
Sarah.
So nice to meet you. I'm sure we'll meet in person soon.
Yeah. Oh, I hope so. And any referrals I got up there,
there'll be a girls' night out.
Oh my.
Perfect.
I'll prepare.
Okay. Yes, do. Bye, guys. We'll see ya.